They say every journey starts with a single step, but no one talks about how heavy those first steps can feel.
Welcome to our journey, life, pain, and growth. This time next year, we're going to be in a totally different place as body-wise, mentally, physically, with everything in our lives. And we're going to continue putting out this content and hopefully to grow and build a family. We want guys that are on the same path, the same journey, that, are in the gym heavy, the journey, showing that side of them. And that's where we're going to go, bro. My name is JD. This is Malik. The reason why we decided to collab today is to talk about mental health. This month is Mental Health Month. And one of the biggest things that me and him clipped on was basically talking about some of the challenges that we faced as men with our mental health. And Malik and I met and we immediately clicked. We decided to come together with both our journeys and basically make a movement, basically getting together to talk about some of our challenges to help you guys out with some of the challenges that you're facing. This month is important to me because it's just something that I feel that can help you, some of the things that we're going to talk about in this video about mental health. And, Malik probably has a lot to talk about, and I'll pass it over to Malik.
Yeah, picking up on what he was saying, I think he said mostly everything, but I think us as men, we go through a lot of silent battles, a lot of battles alone. So like, we're just gonna be talking about like our journeys from our hardest moments in life. And I guess we can transition into, our first question,
absolutely.
about you, as far as like the accident that you told me about. Can you tell me about May 16th, 2023? That's the date. And the pain and the journey from that and how that changed your life, physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Well, first and foremost, I appreciate you even bringing that up. One of the biggest challenges that I faced during that time was basically I was going through a tough relationship at that time. Also was dealing with depression because my dad just passed away at that time, and I was just dealing with that because he was sick for a long time. So it was just affecting me. Even though football was going great, school was doing well, I was battling things inside that I wasn't really speaking out. Didn't really know how to really dig deep and really know how to talk to people. And that was one of the biggest challenges that I had because I was one of those people that just kept everything in. And during that time, I just started drinking a lot heavy, and doing things, different things that I shouldn't have been doing to harm my body and myself. And then that night that it happened, I ended up going out with some friends. He actually asked me to set up a little house get together, kind of like a party. He actually used to be my barber. And he was like, JD, could you invite some people over, this, that, and the third? And one thing led to another with that situation and whatnot. So, long story short, we went to the event, ended up drinking more than I should have, doing some things that I shouldn't have been doing, ended up leaving the party at that time. And at that time, some of my friends thought that I was a little intoxicated, but at that time I felt like I was good to go. I ended up driving. I felt myself like about to, fall asleep. So I decided to pull over. During that time of me pulling over, it was a small street. So when I pulled over, it was enough room to pull over, but I guess the other vehicle was, he was drinking as well. And, with the street being so tight, he, one little curve over, it's all it takes. So he ended up hitting my car. My car ended up sliding because it was raining, basically like going in circles, sliding, and a tour bus ended up taking me on. Next thing I know, I woke up in the hospital wondering what happened to me. For one of the first things that I said was to my mom that she told me about was that someone, first thing I asked was anybody in the car with me? That's the first thing I asked. And that's basically what she said. And then I ended up coming to the second time. And then that's when I seen all my friends and family standing there. Mind you, I looked down, I realized I'm the person that they're looking at in the bed. And then at that time, I told them, it was like, yo, I felt like I got hit by a bus. And it kind of, they all was like, dude, you did get hit by a bus. And then at that time, it all came down. And from that point, I just went into a dark place because when they told me I possibly could not walk again, walk correctly again, and not be able to run again. That hit me hard. Mentally, that took me to a place where I went into survival mode, where I was determined to walk again. I wasn't going to allow those circumstances to get me. And at the time, I was very determined. Wasn't even more so thinking about the accident itself, because after I found out nobody was in the car, I didn't really care about anything other than getting healthy again, and being able to get in the field, because I still had another year of playing football. And it was tough, during that time of expressing that, and being able to express that. I ended up cutting the person I was dealing with off at that time, ended up meeting another person at that time, and she helped me through that process as well too, plus a lot of the friends that I had at that time that got me through during that time. And it was tough, just battling the emotions of not knowing if I was able to step on the field again, which it was something I had to really dig deep and really take that time to really try to figure out what was next. That was something that was always in my head, what's next?
Do you feel like in those moments, do you feel like you battled like alone, like anything like silent, anything that the people of the world wasn't really seeing?
Yeah, man, I was battling so much at that time, because at that time when the accident happened, it was all over the news. Like every news channel you can think of in that area, it was on. And at that time, mad people were trying to get in contact with me. People were calling up to the hospital, pretending like they were my mom or my dad, just trying to get information. People were coming up to the hospital, driving all the way to Wilmington's hospital to figure out what was going on. I think that was the name of the hospital. I can't remember, but everybody was driving up to the hospital I was at and trying to just figure out what was going on, because nobody knew if I died. Nobody knew what was going on. And the challenges that I felt love at that time, because I felt like, people were really concerned about what was going on. So so many people were trying to get in contact with me. And by the time I got my phone, I had over 1,000 text messages and calls from people, voicemails, messages on Instagram, Twitter, just things like that. So at that time, I felt love from people. The dark place where things turned is when I left the hospital after those 2 weeks being in there and actually went home to sit with myself. That's really when the darkness started sitting in, because while everybody was enjoying their summer, I was at home on bed rest the entire 2013 summer, rehabbing, trying to work again, coming from being in the bed most of the time, which we all know can be depressing, like sitting in the bed every day, not being able to go outside, just dealing with that dark place. It really took me there, and I started really seeing people true colors, like, you know what I'm saying? Because people there for you to see, hey, just you're in the hospital, like, hey, I want to know, I want to see what's going on, to be nosy, but nobody was really there for me when I was going through the real pain, like actually going through the rehab, going through the times where I didn't have anybody to really talk to express myself, like the struggles that I was going through. I cried a lot of times, during that time, because I had so many friends at that time. I felt like I was alone, because even though some of my friends did come and see me, but nobody really was like, hey, do you need me to take you to the store? Do you need me to help you with your rehab? Do you need this, that, and the third, And then that kind of woke me up. And it also put me in a dark place too, because then I was like, fuck everybody at that point, because nobody was there. So it was like, only people who was there was like my closest circle, like my close circle. And then my peoples, they were there at that time. And during that time, I appreciated them so much, but it also woke me up about how life works, that the expectations that you have for people might not be what you think they are, and that's when I've learned a valuable lesson, is like, hey, don't expect things from people, because a lot of times people are going to disappoint you, put yourself around people that are going to motivate you and have the same type of energy that you give, and that taught me a valuable lesson during that time.
Like, what was that depression like for you? How did you overcome it? And then, did you ever fall back into it?
The depression felt like the loneliest thing in the world, because like I said, you really didn't have, when you felt like you had so many friends, but then when you really go through something and you really realize that a lot of times it's lonely, and it could be lonely because of yourself, because if you're not the type of person to go and ask people for help, sometimes people don't know how to help another person. So I had to really take some time to really think about it. But the depression was hard because I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do. I couldn't go for a run. I couldn't go work out. I had to really sit down and really sit in my thoughts. You know, like, you know, like drugs or alcohol or something that I could have went to, I couldn't because of the painkillers and stuff that I was on, which made it even worse because, you know, painkillers can put you in a depression. And I just felt like I was sinking. I had no direction. I didn't have nowhere to go at that time, you know. And I end up, you know, being in the house the whole summer. I did end up eventually getting out end of like July, August, and got outside a little bit, just, you know, just to go through things and try to figure out who am I now, and that was the biggest thing. And at that time, I was, you know, dealing with somebody at the time, and I should have gave myself time to heal, because during that time, you know, a lot of the frustration, a lot of the anger I took out on that person. And I also started cutting off a lot of my friends without even telling them, you know, just not talking to them, not having that conversation, because I didn't want to put my depression onto others. And sometimes people don't understand that, you know. I was just trying to figure out what was my next move in life. You know, if football was over, you know, the type of lifestyle, you know, with me liking clothes, shoes, things like that, you know, how would I sponsor my lifestyle? So what would be next, you know? So I had to figure that out. And it took time. It took time after that to really get out that place. And how I got out that place was just one day I just made a decision like, yo, you got to make the change you want to see. You know, nobody's going to come here to save you. All you got is yourself. So what can you do to make the change? First was, okay, I got to stop binge eating. I got to stop eating when I'm emotional and start, you know, doing something constructive. That could be either reading or going to the gym, working on my mobility, to be able to run again fully. And that's what I started doing. I just started lifting, running a lot more than I was, started just training my body back to get to where it was. When I got back into that mode, it put me in a great state where I felt like I was unstoppable. You know, I started embracing the pain instead of making the pain take me down. You know?
That thing that you said earlier about sitting with yourself,
Yeah.
it's such a real thing that men, we have to do. And I was gonna say, like, something that I had to do as well was sit with myself.
Yeah.
And as well as my journey with God and everything. And I had to stop pointing the finger and stop blaming a lot of people for some of the things that I'm going through, and really, you know what I'm saying, do the internal work, do the work.
Yeah.
I can't skip steps. You know, that was a part of my mental health journey along with that. But there's a saying that I always say as well, just tying to that. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I said about pointing and blaming other people and doing a lot of things, and that's part of, I'm gonna get to it in a minute. But as far as like myself, the saying is basically, say like a snake bites you or something like that, and it's a poisonous snake and it bites you, and now you got this poison in you and everything, and then you want to go harm the snake. You want to go figure out why the snake bit you, or you try to kill it, or you try to do all these other things rather than try to get the poison out. And I think that's a lot of things that we do. We try to blame other people, blame other things, as far as like why we're hurting and all this other stuff. And it's just like, that's not the case. You got to sit with yourself. You got to get that. You got to get into therapy. You got to get in that gym. You got to get in that Bible, do all the work, and really like want to change. And then now when all that stuff comes around, you're going to know how to handle it.
Yeah,
and everything.
And that's the hardest thing for people to do is sit with themselves.
Yeah.
That's the hardest things for a lot of us. That's why most people, they resort to drugs or different things, alcohol, gambling, because they're running from something. They're running for something or trying to chase something that is not good for you in the long run. Most people, they fall into depression because their inner selves are in a place where you're tired of faking it. That's the whole thing of the depression, is one of those things is, hey, your body is telling you like he is tired of you pretending to be something that you're not, and you're not doing the things that you're supposed to do. And you're somewhere inside is telling you like, hey, you need to make that change, and your body's tired of it. So what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, you know, that's one of the biggest things that I had to do was just sit with myself and trying to figure out how to get myself out of it. But then it came to a point where it was just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, get yourself out of it. You a dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? What are we doing here? Like, you sitting here crying, whining, like, if your uncle saw you today, he probably slapped the mess out of you because you acting like a little boy. Like, it's time to grown up and take full responsibilities for your actions and make change. So what you gonna do? You gotta write the shit down. Write the things that you know that is harming your life, and what the things are not harming you, and what you can do to flip that. I know you went through a traumatic change. That's something we talked about on April 24th, 2024, like
April
how
14th.
April 14th. I'm sorry, April 14th, 2024. Like, how was that for you? I don't know if you wanted to
Oh yeah.
disclose all of it, but
I
I know.
spoke about it as well, but I would just say that I can't go into detail for like certain reasons. But what I will say is that I did battle suicide,
Yeah.
and I almost committed suicide. It was a 3-day thing. I say April 14th because that's the day that it started, but it was like a 3-day thing. I just kept begging God to like take my life, and
Yeah.
I went and tried to do the act, and then I kind of just turned around and was just like, nah, it's not worth it, or whatever it is. But the reason why I was piggybacking off of that thing about you saying like sitting with myself, but that's the reason why I had to do that, because a lot of the pain that I was feeling, I seen this thing on social media basically saying about like a lot of people's suffering is kind of your fault, and a lot of shit that I was dealing with, I was allowing it to happen, and I could have gotten out of it.
Yeah.
And most of the time it was another person. Most of the time it was finances. I know I shouldn't be spending this, and I'm going to spend it anyways. Most of the time I was just doing a lot of dumb stuff, and I had to separate the mind from the heart. Like, the heart is like what you want to do, but that mind, like that intuition that's what was telling you what you need to do, like do that.
Yeah.
And that's the spiritual mind like talking to you. So what I will say is that battling with all of that, I had to stop pointing the finger. I had to realize that certain people that I lost, certain things that happened or whatever it is, they're gone. They're experiencing life without me, just detaching from it, like just truly. And I had to do the work. You can't skip the steps as a man. You can't rush the process. You gotta sit in that pain, you gotta hurt, you gotta cry, you gotta suffer. And then the outcome gonna be so much greater, because after that couple months, I turned up. I found my passion. I found my passion for content creating. And that's how I just say, like, look at God, because now we're sitting here today.
Yeah.
If none of that had happened, I wouldn't be here to, tell that story, and I wouldn't even be content creating, and none of this vision, as far as like talking to you about it, none of this would have been possible.
Yeah.
So that's been my journey for real.
Yeah, and that's crazy you say that, because that's one of the things that we connect on, was basically talking about, and that's one of the things that you and I connected first, because one of the foremost is what the message that we're trying to get here is basically, and one of the things that I want to just get to the people is understanding that our journeys was, we both had different journeys on our mental health, but it was challenging. It was us waking up saying, hey, we want better for ourselves. We want to do better. We don't want to stay in the dark place that we was in, and that's one of the things why me and him decided to collide on this journey, and talk about our mental health, is because we want to help out other men, and not be scared to bring some of the circumstance that you have, up, be able to talk about it. Go to a therapist, talk to a friend, a very close friend if you need to. Not all friends, because everybody ain't your friend, but so be careful who you talk to, but just, find that person that you can vent to. And that was one of the biggest problems I had, was being able to vent to people, because I didn't want to put my problems or my depression onto somebody else, especially when they got stuff good going into their lives. I just felt like, as I was told growing up, be a man and just, handle, walk it off. But, I had to take a lot of ownership for the stuff that happened, leading up to, instead of blaming a person for making me feel a certain way, take ownership of what happened that night. If I wasn't drinking that night, I would have never put my situation to park on that side of the road and end up getting hit and putting me out and never being able to put the pads on again. I had to take ownership of that, but I had to sit with myself, as he said, and take ownership and forgive myself for that and move on. Now, the journey wasn't easy. It didn't happen overnight, but it did happen. And I'm pretty sure that happened with you and everything. How did you overcome that situation when you decided to possibly take your life? What was some of the steps that you took after you decided, hey, I'm not going to do this,
It was, I would say, it was just like, I ain't gonna lie, it was hell. And I'm still currently battling through it. Not necessarily suicide, that's out of the question, because one thing I want to say is that if you thinking like that and you saying like over and over like the way I was doing it, and I can be completely real. I had a bottle in my hand 7 days a week. When I woke up in the morning all the way until night, and nighttime, that's when it really got bad, where I was really spiritual warfare. That thing that I think we talked about before, but what's it called? It was bad to a point where I was like, listen, I wanna go, and God showed me like, all right, if you wanna go, I'm gonna show you. Like car accident the next week, and I got in a car accident as well. That wasn't part of the suicide, but I want to say, but as far as like battling it, it was just a real like, I don't know, just back and forth. One minute you good, one minute you not. One minute you get a little traction, you ready to go get back in the gym,
Yeah.
and then it slip right back into it. And then it's
And it's so easy to slip back into it. It
and
is.
that's what I'm saying. Just now, it's still the same way. Like I'm still battling, but like it's more like I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm not going back. Now it's just like I'm not going back. But at that time, it was
force
just,
yourself, discipline.
It was just back and forth, back and forth. But then when I started to like really like turn up, like get on my content, journal, praying, dressing nice, finding things that like feed the soul, like really like not just look good on camera, not just look good or whatever it is, but really things that made me happy.
Yeah.
I'm doing this to tell my story, but I'm not doing this to show everybody, oh, I'm good. No, I'm doing this because it makes me happy.
Yeah.
I love to create.
Yeah.
So I
Facts.
did shit that poured into my soul that made me feel like joy, like more fulfillment.
Yeah.
So that's how I overcame it though.
Yeah. And that's a great thing you say that, because that's some of the things that I took in as well too. And discipline was one of the best things that I did for myself, is holding myself accountable, because it's a lot of times it's easy to tell yourself no to go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? It's very easy to say, hey, I don't want to work out today, but you know, I challenge myself, hey, and once you get a rhythm of it and you challenge yourself to go to work on your things and things like that, it's going to come easy. It's going to be times that you don't want to go, but that discipline that you have within yourself is going to make everything 10 times better. And over time, you're going to start seeing the progress. And it's going to be a slow progress. Some people see the process right away. Some others, it doesn't happen till a few months later, but if you stay consistent with it, it's going to help you get out that place. One of the biggest things, the reason why I got in the gym and I like working out, let me tell you something, I've been working out since '94 because I've been playing ball between basketball, football, and wrestling since then. But the reason why I like working out is because it pushes me. It takes a lot of the frustration that I go through in everyday life out. I'm sure Malik can say the same things, but it keeps me focused. It keeps me grounded on what I want to do. That's one of the biggest things that helped me get through my depression is putting forth the effort, write things on paper, completing those things, writing a checklist every morning or the night before to do my to-do list. And that was one of the challenges that got me through, and which is why I'm in the place where I'm at now. And it's going to even get better from now. You know, when one of the things that you said about, you know, and a lot of things you said had everything to do with like just discipline and stuff. What is something that you could tell somebody today that's going through the same troubles that you had at that time when you decided to not take your life at that time? What can you tell somebody else to help them get through that? You know, did you have help? Did you see a therapist? Did you talk to somebody? What made you do that 360, and what pushed you to keep going?
Yeah, I would say that a lot of people had a lot of good things to say, but I wouldn't say that really helped. I had a lot of people in my corner, don't get me wrong, but when I was standing on that balcony ready to kill myself and jump to my death, it's just me. Ain't nobody else. It wasn't nobody to call. But when I turned around, I saw my dog. And at first at that time, I thought it was silly, but like, no. When I turned around, like, if I killed myself, my dog has nobody to take care of her. And I'm leaving my family with like, dang, I wasn't there enough. Like, I'm leaving them. I'm kind of being a little bit selfish in a sense where like, I'm not even thinking about nobody else. Like, everybody's gonna hurt, like the pain that I'm gonna put some people through. Yeah. So that turned me around, and that just made me just go inside and just read the Bible. And then I wanna say, so that right there, I'm just kind of just venting for real, but I would say the other things is that you can't skip the steps. Like, you can't just wanna just jump to healed or whatever it is. You gotta go through the steps. You gotta go through the days of feeling good, the days of not feeling the greatest. Like, you cannot skip steps. You gotta do the work. That's how you get there. And then along with that is something that my friend said, one of my friends' name is Rico. He had told me, he was like, yo, let God do his work. Like, why are you stressing? And it sounds so simple, but it was just like he's going to let everything, he's going to show everything. He's going to show you exactly what you need to see. He's going to show you exactly why that didn't work. And I have like the type of faith now that like, I know for a fact, if somebody wants to leave, if somebody wants to say something to me, or if it wants to doubt me, I'm like, okay, bet, I'm gonna show you.
No,
and that's the mindset that you gotta have. You gotta have faith and that's what faith is. It's like no matter what, I don't care the time, the day. If it's the day before I die, God's gonna make it happen.
Yeah, nah, facts. And that's kind of how I got a place that I got to. It was like, because everything that transparent in my life, and I've been through some dark stuff times in my life, but every time I went through a certain tribulation in my life, God always showed a way. You know, if I lost a job, he would show me another job, show me a different path, something would come my way. Or if I got a relationship, he would show me a place like, hey, that person was not meant for you. Doesn't mean that you hate this person, but you know, that person might not be the person for you and what you want out of life, you know. You just got to keep going, you know, and taking one day at a time.
Just speaking about like pain in this video, like stuff that we like been through. I just use that as like fuel, fuel to the fire. I use that as like just everything in the gym. I don't know. I love that pain, like, or whatever it is. It just makes me, I don't know. It helps me with letting go. It's a weird type of pain. And I heard you say something like a while ago about like getting addicted to it. And I'm just like, yo, get addicted to that pain. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I know this sounds kind of crazy, but get addicted to that pain. I even heard Kevin Gates say something. He was just like, yo, I can't wait to get my heart broken and all this other stuff. And I was like,
what?
I'm dead serious, but I understood it.
Yeah, I understood what he meant.
Because I was like, I mean, when he said it, I was like, eh. But after hearing it, I'm like, nah, like, please, yeah, hurt me, doubt me, do whatever you gotta do. Yeah. I'm gonna show you. Or not even show you, I'm gonna prove it to myself. Yeah. God, I'm protected by God. Like I'm telling you that it's gonna be different. So like, that should be your motivation. Get yourself like in the gym, take that pain and like use it as fuel for the fire. That stuff should make you so like, excuse my language, but so fucking angry.
That it just keep you going.
And just keep you going. Just don't put that anger on nobody else. Don't put that anger onto nothing else. Put that into like just betterment of like yourself, like your craft,
things that you want to do,
things that just bring you pure joy. And I promise you'll go so much further.
And not even worrying about what other people think. Because one thing, the biggest things that I think everybody challenged with, even though people say they don't care what people think about, people do care about what people think about for the most part. It's just levels to it. It's just that my phase of my life, I really don't give a fuck anymore. I really care about what I'm trying to do in my life. I'm trying to really help others, you know. I've really been through some tough stuff in my life, and I've been a fighter my whole life, you know. And one of the biggest things that I want to just help people get through their journey. Understand it's a marathon. It's not a race. A lot of people want that quick, like, results right away, and it's not gonna happen like that, you know. And I just want to show people that, hey, if you keep going, man, you can push through the pain, man. She broke up with you, so what? Hit the gym. You know what I'm saying? If your job just fired you, hit the gym. If you just lost a loved one, and you know you need a couple days to grieve on it, hit the gym a couple days later to get that frustration out. Because a lot of times we hold all this stuff in, and then we hold it in, and then out of nowhere we explode, and then we have people that misunderstand us, don't understand why we're exploding, or if we do something crazy enough that sends us to jail or prison, and you don't want to take it that far. One of the biggest things about me and doing this and wanting to push this movement is the pain. The pain is something that I'm always going to do. You know, my knees killing me. I just had a partial tear in my bicep and my pec. I kept going. I didn't stop. A lot of people, they go through things and then all of a sudden want to stop. Oh, my back, my hip. No, keep fucking going. If you can walk, do some walks. You know, if you can't walk or run, do some, you know what I'm saying, some rope drills, something to keep your body going so it keeps you motivated. Because a lot of times, if you're sitting there not doing anything and not being productive, it can hold you back, man. It's very important, man. Push through all the anger. Like, bro, do not stress over no girl. Don't stress over people that are not pouring into you. Pour into yourself, man. It's really important, man. Nobody can ever say they got anything over me because I've always worked hard. I always pushed myself every single time. And this time, I'm pushing myself to my very limit because I have a purpose, and my purpose is my daughter. I want to show her that, it is possible, even though my career is successful and I'm doing well in that, but I want more out of life. And I want this journey, and the reason why I say welcome to our journey, the pain and the growth that we talk about is because it's important. Like, I want people to see my growth. I want people to see my pain. That's the reason why I'm going to post a lot of my content online. And I love posting that stuff because I want you guys to go on a journey with me and him at the same time. And we're going to be showing y'all, and we're going to be connecting with each other a lot of times to show y'all the pain that we go through, and stuff, man. And this journey is going to be an incredible thing to talk about. I want you guys to understand where we're coming from. I've been locked up before. I've been shot at before. I've been through so much stuff, man. I can't really disclose too much, but just understand that, I've been through that. I've been through hate. I've had people hate on me for no reason. He's been through it as well, just hate on me for no reason, just because of my demeanor, because I'm a big dude. I walk in a room. I make some guys feel uncomfortable, but I don't care because at the same time, I'm just being me, and I'm not a bad person, I'm just a guy that's just trying to get through life and learn as I go and become the best version of myself. And that's something that I'm working on right now. And that's why him and I decided to come together to show y'all this. And, we're trying to make this a big movement, not even just in the DMV, but throughout the entire world if we can, and bring guys in that's on the same type of path that we want to show life, show like not just partying, not just doing drugs or alcohol, no, really showing like guys pouring into themselves, working on themselves, getting in their journal, doing that shadow work that, that we need to do, that a lot of guys are scared to talk about. I'm not scared to talk. Yeah, I cry sometimes that people don't see. Yeah, sometimes I'm sad that people don't see, but I don't care. Like, I'm going to talk about that, and you guys going to see the pain that I've been through my entire life, the challenges. I grew up with a learning disability, but I never allowed that to stop me. Now, I'm running a whole department by myself, you know what I'm saying, and doing crazy things right now. I didn't allow my disabilities to stop what I wanted to do, and that's the reason why I respect this guy so much, because when we started talking and really getting to know each other, he really, it's like we immediately connected, because like, even though our stories was different, they were similar, battling those challenges with my mental health, fighting through that stuff, trying to make every day count, not thinking that you make enough money, or doing this. Nowadays 6 figures not even crazy money, but I'm still, maintaining and making things work. I'm trying to make my daughter proud of me, and stuff, and this guy right here and me, we're gonna show y'all better than we can tell y'all. This is a movement. This is, welcome them to our journey, our pain, our growth, and this is something that we're gonna do, and we're gonna show y'all better than we can tell y'all. I promise y'all that. This time next year, you guys gonna see a different, we're gonna be totally different in this time, and we're gonna film everything. We're gonna show you guys what it takes to really work on yourselves, and it's gonna be a journey. It's a marathon, and we're gonna take you there for sure. Believe that.
Just piggybacking off of what you said, JD, I think it's time to get active. And I think that for myself, one of the hardest things that I had to accept in my, I want to say self-reflection, was that I never really finished anything that I started. I started so much, and shit just come to an end. And I think that's why I'm so hungry with this right now, because I'm like, nah, I'm finishing this no matter what. And I have faith that God aligned me with the people for my purpose, because this is what I prayed for. And I'm thinking that this is gonna be it.
Yeah.
And that's all I want out of this right now. I just want to finish. You know what I'm saying? And I think that everybody else should have that mindset. Don't just be out here just saying stuff. You know what I'm saying? And if we talking about men's mental health, there's a reason why that shorty think you a bitch, for real, because you're not a man of your fucking word. And I think that you need to be that as a man. And I'm just just giving you the truth in life, but I think that you need to be a man of your word. Everything that you say, back it up. Don't say nothing that you cannot finish. Don't promise nothing that you cannot fulfill.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So have that mindset, be a man of your word, and finish everything you fucking started. And that's it.
That's it, man. Like, hey, be hungry, be that alpha wolf, man. Be that wolf, be that dog. And that's one thing that, you know, me and Malik are going to challenge ourselves in the this time next year. You know, today is what, May 19th, June 19th. I'm sorry, June 19th right now. This time next year, we're going to be in a totally different place, as body wise, mentally, physically, with everything in our lives. And we're going to continue putting out this content and hopefully to grow and build a family. Because that's one thing that me and him talked about, is that we just don't want it just to be us two. We want guys that are on the same path, the same journey, that, you know, are in the gym heavy, not having to force them to go to the gym, not forcing them to do the work, the content, the journey, showing that side of them. And that's where we gonna go, bro. We gonna bring that fucking pain. Are you gonna be on the ride with us? Because let me tell you, we apex predators. We them dogs. So you either gonna jump on that wolf pack that we trying to build or not. Bring the pain, baby, for real.
That's it.